Did you know that all of Star Wars canon would have been changed forever if George Lucas kept in a very weird scene from Revenge of the Sith? It is an infamous deleted scene where Obi-Wan and Anakin aboard Grievous's ship are trying to understand what R2 is saying, and suddenly Anakin speaks droid. Check it out.
You're right, beep is up. Pretty sure that beep is down.
It was bizarre even for back then, and 2005 was already a weird enough year. Could you imagine how different Star Wars canon would be if they kept that in? I mean, we'd literally be having Anakin in the Clone Wars series talking droid. We dodged a bullet there. At least it's better than my unnecessarily censored version of Revenge of the Sith. I wanted to break up the monotony of Ahsoka news by starting light-hearted, because we've had a lot of Ahsoka stuff lately and sometimes it feels like we're going in circles. But here's the deal, guys. Today we've got some director news. The final list of directors is rather surprising and very, very exciting indeed. We're also going to be talking about Orrelios, and finally, some details about Sabine Wren and her relationship to her master, Ahsoka Tano. Enjoy. The Ahsoka news just keeps on coming and I'm all here for it. Today we have some very exciting updates, most notably a new press release on the production of Ahsoka has unveiled the final list of directors, and there are a few adjustments to what was initially rumoured. Most notably is that Bryce Dallas Howard is not directing any episode, but this is interesting because she claimed to know a lot about the series. A year and a half ago she says there are going to be some things that make Clone Wars fans very happy. There's a lot of fan service concerning that show, and it could just be as simple as she's very well informed, she knows all these people working on the production, she's directed episodes of The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. But I do suspect, and this is me just being a bit conspiratorial, considering she confirmed to Katie Sackhoff on YouTube that she is directing for Skeleton Crew, could the rumours of a connection between the two shows be present? Is Ahsoka Tano going to feature in both her own series and in the John Watts and Chris Ford show featuring Jude Law? So who are the directors? Let's go through them and we'll break it all down. And my dear friends, there is some very good news for the finale. Stay with me and stay tuned. So we begin the season with Dave. Surprisingly, despite him having written the entire show and claiming to not have directed any episodes, he's directed episodes 1 and 5. Steph Green, who did one of the best episodes of the Book of Boba Fett, is directing the second episode and the third. So we have Dave with episode 1, Steph Green with episode 2, and episode 3. And this reassures me about the fact the third episode is going to be very short, because it tells me that episodes 2 and 3 are a two-parter, with episode 1 by Dave Filoni maybe being a recap of sorts and maybe catching us up to speed on Ahsoka's journey so far. That makes the most sense. And then episode 4 is Peter Ramsey. He directed in Mando season 3 a fantastic episode, episode 5, but he's directing the fourth episode of Ahsoka season 1. And then we're back to Dave for episode 5. 105 season 1 episode 5 is Dave. Then for episode 6, Jennifer Getzinger, making her Star Wars debut. And then an exciting name if you're a fan of House of the Dragon, Geeta Patel. She's got the penultimate episode of the season. And then finally, the season 1 finale, episode 8, the episode that could connect to the next phase of the Mandoverse or Dave's film, or a second season of this show, Rick Famuyiwa, one of my favourite Mandalorian directors and executive producer on that show. In Mando season 1 he directed episodes 2 and 6, in season 2 he had episode 7, and in season 3 he did 1, 7 and 8. This news is fantastic, because aside from the newcomers, which is always going to be an amazing thing when it comes to Star Wars, diversifying the creativity that we see, so it's not the same sort of vision every time. We also have some familiar names who have proven to deliver in the past. I'm most excited about Steph Green. She had one of my favourite episodes of Book of Boba Fett, episode 2. Dave Filoni is the one who directed my favourite Book of Boba Fett episode, and he's also directed some fantastic Mando ones too. Most notably Chapter 1, The Mandalorian, Chapter 5, The Gunslinger, and Chapter 13, The Jedi. We're in for a treat, and Rick Famuyiwa directing the finale makes me wonder, are we going to get a Mando connection in that show? Is that where we're going to see Trapper Wolf? Could that be where they bring in Din Djarin? I don't think we're going to see Din and Grogu in this show, but what I do think we'll see is a connection to the scene from Mando season 3 with Orrelios. This was already hinted at by Dave, because after the scene with Paul Sun-Hyung Lee's Carson Teva, Dave says who he talks to next is going to be explored, and that's the most interesting. Is he going to talk to Hera Syndulla, maybe Mon Mothma? Is that how all of this comes together? different members of the New Republic bringing together information of something going on, hints of Grand Admiral Thrawn. This could either be in the finale, or it could be in Peter Ramsey's episode, because Ramsey was the one who directed The Pirate, the episode that Zeb debuts in live action. We'll return to the press release in just a moment, but another update. The show has received an unsurprising rating, same as most of the other live action shows, of TV-14. Now it's worth bearing in mind, this is a very diverse rating and covers a wide swath of content. This could be action, lightsaber scenes, intense drama, that kind of thing, as well as mild violence. And just to remind you guys, in 2 days, the first reviews for the Ahsoka show come in, so we'll get an idea of what fans thought, what those early reviewers thought. They tend to be a bit skewed, a bit biased, but there are some renowned outlets who do give a bit of honesty, the good and the bad. I'll keep you updated. Now this press release called Production Brief, which was just unveiled, has some very interesting details, and they say the main theme of the show is Master and Apprentice. We have seen this in some of the promo material. They released a Master and Apprentice short, and yesterday I broke down the new teaser trailer, the kind of behind the scenes look, a new Star Wars legacy. But Masters and Apprentices were a big theme, and Dave says Sabine is Ahsoka's apprentice. This has been teased time and time again, but to hear him actually say it, to hear him confirm it goes down the lineage, Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, Anakin, Ahsoka, and now Sabine, he doesn't use the term Force sensitive, but it does seem more and more to be implied, so I'm not going to be too surprised if Sabine is Force sensitive in the end, even though I think at this point that is very questionable. It fulfills what Kanan said in Star Wars Rebels, that she just needs to open herself up to the Force. Here's what they say. Filoni realized a lifelong dream in 2005 when he was selected by George Lucas to help build Lucasfilm's animation studio from the ground up and create the company's first series, the Emmy Award-winning Star Wars: The Clone Wars. He says this, what none of us knew was that the most important character of that series was going to be a new character called Ahsoka Tano. George said, I want Anakin to learn responsibility. He will train a student. This will create a fun dynamic between Anakin and Obi-Wan, having this young, impressionable student between them. So originally Ahsoka was a plot device to create a new and kind of comedic hurdle between Anakin and Obi-Wan Kenobi. But she ended up being the star of the Clone Wars movie and the star of the Clone Wars, and she was also in Star Wars Rebels, Forces of Destiny, Mando, Book of Boba Fett. She is a staple of Star Wars and now a big part of Star Wars' future. And here's what they say about Sabine. With Ahsoka stepping into the role of Master and taking on Sabine as her apprentice, the series delves into the impact the past has had on her. Rosario Dawson says, quote, there is a deep-seated fear that we start to explore with Ahsoka that has never left her about watching this person who she loved and considered family turn to the dark side. So is she going to step up to that sort of master level where it's not just being a master on her own, but being a master who is going to pass on that richness of experience to her Padawan? And here is the huge bit, my dear Mandalorians. This is what Natasha Liu Bordiso says. She plays Sabine Wren. When I first met with John and Dave was saying this show is about the relationship between a master and apprentice. And I was like, well, I hope I'm the apprentice because I don't feel like I've mastered much. One thing I love about Sabine's journey is that she struggles with her emotions. She's impulsive. She's got good intentions, but so many unfair things are happening around her and to her, and she doesn't always make the right decisions. So of course, a learning curve with any Padawan, but I want to go back to what Rosario says about Ahsoka. She talks about still being impacted by Anakin's turn to the dark, and I imagine this is going to feed into dreams, visions, maybe the world between worlds, although I don't think that's in the cards anymore, and more than anything, maybe reassurance from Anakin's Force ghost. Series executive producer Jon Favreau adds this, the idea of apprenticeship, that's what the whole show's about, and that is what Ahsoka is wrestling with as she's dealing with Sabine, that inherent need to come together in order to pass down knowledge and to help save the galaxy. Reflecting on Ahsoka's story so far, Filoni explains this, she's not perfect, she's flawed, she had a lot to learn, she's an adult now, but her past gives us a look into her behaviour and why she is the way she is. It's been a long road in evolving her from Anakin's young Padawan, and she has grown from there into quite a special character in her own right. Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka comes to life again in just over a week, 8 days to go. Share your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. How do you feel about all of these reveals? Let me know. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video. May the Force be with you, always.